In this tutorial, we will focus on the diagram, format, and export-import menu options in the diagram screen. Let's first go to the Diagram tab. To enable many of the features in this menu option, it is necessary that we add components to the diagram. We'll add an application server labeled AS-1, a database server labeled DB-1, and a human machine interface labeled HMI-1, with connector lines between them. To see the options, we will click on the HMI. You can remove one or more selected objects by clicking the Delete key on the keyboard or using the Delete button. You can also click on the Cut button. The Cut button is different than pressing the Delete key in that the object is removed from the diagram, but a copy is saved on the local clipboard for later placement with the Paste command. For example, we can select the HMI and then click on the Cut button. The HMI is now removed from the diagram. Notice that the Paste button is now enabled. This shows that there is something stored on the local clipboard. To place a copy of the HMI back on the diagram, simply click on the Paste button. The HMI is restored. By selecting multiple components and the line in a selection frame, we can cut and paste both the components and the connecting line. This is especially important when doing a copy and paste, which we will do next. To copy one or more objects, you will need to first select them individually or as a group. You can select objects by using a frame or by selecting them one at a time with the mouse and the Control or Shift key depressed. This is consistent with how most Windows programs work. To create the copies, click the Copy button, then the Paste button. You can also use common Windows shortcuts like Control-X, Control-C, and Control-V keyboard combinations. When objects are pasted, the tag is incremented to make it unique from the original. You will need to update the component tags after making the copies. Please note that you cannot copy and paste objects between CSET and other Windows applications. The Delete button behaves like the Delete key on the keyboard. You must first select one or more objects and click the Delete button. This removes the objects, but it does not save them to the local clipboard. The Undo and Redo buttons allow you to undo a recent action or redo an action that has been undone. These buttons will work for most actions. The Zoom functionality allows you to first set the zoom factor and then click the plus or minus buttons to zoom in or zoom out. To change the zoom factor, click on the Zoom Factor button and select a new number. For this example, we will set the factor to 1.4 and then zoom in. After setting the factor, you can zoom in and out by clicking the magnifying glass with the plus or minus symbols. You can see the results as you click the buttons. Changing the zoom factor requires more steps to return to the original view. You can always return to the original position by clicking the Reset button. The next options on the Diagram tab are toggle buttons for grid lines, Snap to items, and Snap to grid options. By default, the grid lines are on. You can turn them off by clicking the Grid Lines button. The Snap to items and Snap to grid buttons are helpful when aligning components and adding connector lines. To demonstrate the text tool, we will add a standalone text field with the words Acme Control System Diagram. We will now shift our attention to the Format tab and look at the Label Styles options. On the left side, you will see options to change the font style and size, as well as bolding, italics, and underline. You can also change the font color. We will change the appearance of both the text block and the labels associated with the components. The Align buttons can be used to change the position of text or component labels in relation to their icons. The alignment change can be applied to a single text field or label, or to multiple text fields or labels depending upon what is selected. The object ordering buttons allow you to alter which objects appear in front of others. The primary buttons are Bring to Front and Send to Back. You can also use the buttons to bring forward or send back one position at a time. The next block of commands allows you to move an object a short distance up, down, left, or right. These are the nudging options, and they allow you to fine-tune object positioning. The alignment buttons allow you to align one or more objects to the specified position of an anchor object. These buttons can be useful for cleaning up the positioning of components on a diagram. The sizing buttons allow you to make all selected objects the same size as the target object. Object sizing can aid in uniformity, or it can be used to globally increase or decrease the size of components on the diagram. The final set of options that we will discuss can be found under the Export/Import tab. The Export/Import tab allows you to save a diagram or load one that was made previously. Let's start by saving our current diagram. Simply click the Export Diagram button and enter a file name. This function saves only the diagram. If you wish to save the questions and answers related to the diagram, you must save the entire assessment using the File menu in the upper left corner of the CSET window. To load a diagram created in CSET, use the Import Diagram button. The next two buttons allow you to create or modify your diagram using Microsoft Visio 2013. Use the Import Visio button to open a Visio diagram in CSET. This process modifies the Visio file type for use in CSET. To prepare a CSET diagram for use in Visio, use the Export Visio button. Consult the user guide or the online help system for more details on the Visio interface. Grass Marlin is a passive network traffic capture application that maps network configurations. Using this plugin will allow those diagrams to be formatted for use in CSET. This concludes the Diagram, Format, and Export tutorial. See the other diagram-specific tutorials for more information about diagram commands.